fingers are still down holding the controller like this, you're wasting fingers. You don't need 6 fingers holding the controller. It's still very easy.
Hey guys, welcome back to another stream. Today I'm going to show you guys how much better I've gotten on controller or on claw for 90. Last video you guys saw me, I was pretty bad at 90, but now I'm not the worst, but before I was like terrible, but now
I'm straining my finger. I can't even play claw because my finger just won't reach. I'm bending it as much as I can, but as you can see, there's a huge separation here. This just does not feel natural. And this is everyone's biggest mistake when playing claw, is that they're so used to playing like this, all of a sudden they just try and whip their index fingers up, and they literally can't even bring their index fingers up onto those face buttons. This is where my biggest tip comes in of rotating your wrist. So as you can see, a standard player would play like this, whereas a claw player would have a bit more of a wrist rotation out this way and plays it more like this. So standard player, claw player, standard player, claw player. It is all in the wrist rotation. I can't stress this enough. Your fingers are not too small to play claw. It's not uncomfortable. You just have to rotate your wrist. So basically you want to be pressing these face buttons as naturally as possible. So this is a straight 90-degree angle and it's obviously too much. And this is a straight 0-degree angle, and as you can see, I can't even press those buttons. But how I like to play is I come in on a nice 45-degree angle with my finger, so have my wrist positioned where my finger comes in at a nice 45-degree angle, and I can press every button with ease. So if I just show you from a side angle here, as you can see, I'm not coming in and playing claw like this, I'm actually coming in on an angle, and I'm playing claw like this. So not like this, I'm actually rotating my wrist and playing like this. But here's where we encounter our first issue with learning claw. A lot of people say their aim is bad when they start playing claw, and that reason is because you are rotating your wrist. So if you just look at my thumb here, this is how someone normally would play, but when you play claw, because you're rotating your wrist, as you can see, my thumb is now positioned down here. So normal, claw, normal, claw. So now that we're playing like this, my thumb is positioned at a different angle, and it will make my aim feel terrible, but don't worry because it won't take long for your brain to recalibrate your aim with your new thumb position. So it will feel weird, but trust me, give it time, it will be worth it. Alright, but how do I play claw? Good question. So the way I play claw is I keep my middle finger.
I've gotten a little bit better at editing because we did a video on this where if you go on here and you turn
this finger actually comes up to R1 and down quite a lot, but in the rare case where my index finger is maybe pressing jump and I don't have enough time to come back up to R1, my middle finger will actually
holy, that made me better at 90.
R1 like this. So 99% of the time, index finger presses R1. So if the index finger is busy doing something and I have to press R1, my middle finger will come up and do it for me. So on Fortnite, if I wanted to jump and place a floor, I'd have to do this most of the time, but I've actually trained myself to press both at once if I wanted to. And this is a really good reason of actually using your middle finger up here, because it can be a very versatile finger. It can press the triggers as well as the bumpers, because you can imagine if I didn't even have my middle fingers up there and they were down here, my index finger would now have to press the trigger, the bumper, and the face buttons. And this is just way too much work for one finger. So bringing that finger up can assure you're pressing everything as fast as possible. Also, some claw players even go a step beyond that and actually bring their ring fingers up onto R2. So they have ring fingers on triggers, middle fingers on bumpers, and index fingers on action buttons. Now, although this is the best way to play claw, in my opinion, it is extremely hard to have 3 fingers on the controller and only hold the entire controller with just your little fingers. So that's why I like to put 4 fingers down here, it gives me a comfortable grip, and I can use 6 fingers on the controller playing claw. This is why I said previously in the video that if you're not already using your middle fingers to start by just playing like this and using your index and middle fingers,
that's a little hard. I'm gonna try and play double claw real quick.
Then you can move.
Oh yeah, that's hard.
Claw is extremely useful for is pressing this touchpad button. Now, as you can clearly see, I use the touchpad quite a lot in Fortnite because it is my edit button. So this is actually how I play claw. And this is also another good reason to learn left-hand claw as well, because even if you're not going to claw the D-pad, clawing the touchpad down here or even up the top up here is a really good way to utilize that index finger.
I'm gonna try and
that's why claw is the best way to hold the controller, because you can press so many buttons, including the touchpad, all these face buttons, and literally everything on the controller without ever taking your thumbs off those analog sticks. So now you know how to play claw, let's talk about the learning process. There's a variety of different ways to learn claw.
Oh yeah, this controller touchpad doesn't work.
Call of Duty, you can create a custom game with bots, and in Fortnite, you can jump in playground or creative. I highly recommend when learning claws, start off by spending as much time in these practice modes as you can, because this will help you learn.
Okay guys, this stream might just be
Day one, they jump into a public game, get frustrated and keep dying because they find it hard or uncomfortable to play. But when learning anything new, you have to be patient and start off smart by practicing, because the more you practice, the faster you're going to learn it. But one thing is for certain, you do have to put the time into practice a couple of hours a day, every day, and I promise you, you will learn claw in just 1 week. Yes, that's right, if you practice, claw won't take any longer than a week, and during that week, every day you wake up, you'll get easier and easier until you'll be so used to playing like it, you can't go back. Then